Okay, so now we're going to take a look at exponential decay. It's the same process, except going to the formula. A is still the initial value. The only difference is going to be in B, instead of being 1 plus the growth rate, it's going to be 1 minus the decay rate. So you're basically taking 100% and subtracting away the percent of decrease. So in example 5, it says the population of a city has been decreasing at a rate of 3% each year. The population of the city is now 50,000. So 50,000 is your A. So Y equals 50,000 times, and it's going to be 100%, if you find it easier to subtract the percentages first and then convert that to a decimal, that usually works, 0.97 to the x power. Okay, we want to know what's the population after 10 years. So 50,000 times 0.97 to the 10th power, that's going to be times 0.97 to the 10th. That's going to be 36,871 people, approximately, to the nearest whole. Okay, another example down below, example 6. Since 1980, the number of gallons of whole milk each year that a person in the U.S. drinks has decreased by 4.1% each year. In 1980, each person drank an average of 16.5 gallons of whole milk per year. Write an equation to model this. So I have the initial amount that people drank, 16.5, and then here for my B, maybe pause the video and try this on your own. So you have 100% minus 4.1%, right? So that's 95.9%, but then expressed as a decimal is 0.959, and that's to the x power. And then I want to know what's the amount that people drink on average per year in 2020, so that's going to be 40 years later. So I'm going to do y equals 16.5 times 0.959 to the 40th power. Okay, so 16.5 times 0.959 to the 40th, and this is to the nearest tenth of a gallon. So now it's about 3 point, and it's 0.9, so I'm going to round to the nearest tenth, 3.1 gallons. Right, gallons, yeah. Okay, so another, and that may have come to your mind, another example of exponential growth is the idea of compound interest. So compound interest means that you're taking a certain amount of money that's either being invested in a bank or some sort of like stock or something, or it could be an amount that you're borrowing from somebody if you're taking some sort of loan, and they take the amount of money. Let's say this represents the amount of money that you initially borrow or invest, and then they add a certain percentage to it. So let's say they add like 3%. So it becomes, after 1 year, it becomes 3% bigger. So it becomes a little bit bigger. And then the following year, they add 3% of that new amount. So it's not 3% of the original, it's 3% of that new amount. So it becomes even bigger. And then it's 3% of that new amount. So because you keep taking a percentage of a bigger amount each time, it's growing, it's following this path here that you see, it's growing exponentially, as opposed to growing linearly. Linear would be simple interest, which you guys learned about last year. Simple interest is that you keep taking 3% on your original amount every time, okay? And so if you just keep taking 3% of the original amount, then it's going to grow in a linear fashion. So oftentimes we compare simple interest versus compound interest. So like in example 7, it says Bank A offers 7% simple interest and Bank B offers 7% interest compounded annually. So if you invest $30,000, how much will you have with each bank after 5 years? So for simple interest, you guys may have learned the formula interest equals principal times rate times time, which is basically like your initial amount, $30,000, and you're getting 7% on that, 0.07, and then every time it's 7% of that, 7% of that. So you just multiply by the number of years, which is 5. So if I multiply 30,000 times 0.07 times 5, that means I'm earning $10,500 in interest. That's the I. That's the extra money that I'm getting, the interest. So altogether, what we call the balance, right? If I'm investing, I now have the original investment of 30,000 plus the 10,500. So I just add those together and I have 40,500. That's my balance. Okay, for compound interest, I invest 30,000, that's my A value, and so it's growing exponentially. So I'm getting 7% added each year onto the 100%, so that's 1.07 for my B value, and that's going to be to the 5th power. And so by doing this formula, you're essentially figuring out, like, okay, if I did 7% on the first year, and then 7% on that new amount, and then 7% on that new amount, this is a shortcut for doing this several times, right? So if I put this in my calculator, 30,000 times 1.07 to the 5th power, I have $42,076 approximately. Well, 77 because the next one's a 5. So if I round it to the nearest whole. And this includes your 30,000. So like where we did with simple interest, where it only figures out your interest and then you have to add it on to your original investment to get the balance, this includes your original investment. This is your balance and your interest all together. Okay, so you could see it's bigger. Over time, so if you look at the graph, like at first they start out really close, but then over a long period of time, that's where you see a big difference. So in part B, how much money will you have in the bank, in each bank after 20 years? So if I did this for 20 years, in the simple interest situation, I have 30,000 times 0.07 times 20. Okay, so 30,000 times 0.07 times 20, which is 42,000, right? Yeah. And then added on to my original investment is going to be 72,000. And then in the Bank B example, the compound interest, I have y equals 30,000 times 1.07 to the 20th power. So 30,000 times 1.07 to the 20th power. If you put that in your calculator, you now have $116,091. And you could see the difference now becoming dramatically different, dramatically greater. Okay, so you have some examples that are more basic and then some that are comparing different compound versus simple interest in your homework. Please use your notes to help you do your homework. Okay, thank you, everybody.